Hey guys, and welcome back to Wind Waker HD. This is it, Link's ultimate test. We must travel to the top of the Tower of the Gods and ring the bell.
See, I told you we needed a water-based dungeon.
Well, by God, we got one.
Well, partially. This dungeon kind of has like two levels to it. You have this first floor, which is very water-based, but once we get past that, it sort of becomes just this typical architecture. Like, I guess the most similar I can think of would be Twilight Princess's Temple of Time.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up actually.
Music, though, is actually based off the two previous dungeons. A little bit of Dragon Roost Cavern and a little bit of Forbidden Woods can be heard in the background music for this place.
I guess that confirms that Forsaken Fortress isn't an actual dungeon then. Yes, score one for the conspiracy theorists.
Score one for video game theorists everywhere.
I really like Tower of the Gods. What do you think, mate?
It's a pretty cool dungeon. I was just thrown off the first time when I got the Pearl, didn't get a third dungeon, and then I got this late third, fourth, whatever dungeon.
Yeah. I tell you what would have been really, kind of not keeping with tradition and a bit of a buzzkill as well. If you did, three things, and then nothing, changed in the story. This is obviously the status quo changing. This is big stuff for Link. Skyward Sword, you do the first three dungeons, and then nothing much really happens.
So you do the thing, and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
Damn. What a shame.
We'll get to that eventually, don't you worry. It may not be 2016, but we will get to Skyward Sword.
So, if Dragon Roost was all about bombs and lava and your grappling hook, and the Forbidden Woods was also kind of bombs, but using the nuts instead, well, hey, you can use the bombs instead of nuts, so it's all the same thing. This one's all about switches and using weight on those switches. Sort of an interesting take on a test of courage. You would think that the dungeon that had a lot of combat, Dragon Roost Cavern, would be a more fitting test of courage. This is more a test of your physics knowledge.
I'm glad there was at least one dungeon that made use of sailing and the tides, because that's like a major gameplay element. And, flash forward to Twilight Princess, the wolf is used in one or two dungeons, so it makes sense.
Yeah, that is another thing too I do really like. Even if it's not for the entire dungeon, the fact that we can use Coral within a dungeon, I like.
Sorry, I forgot you gave him a fan nickname.
Yeah, his name's Coral.
This is actually kind of a trick room, because you have to rearrange one or two of these blocks, and it'll throw you off, at least it did for me at first, because you may only think that you have to move this one right here, but you will end up, I think, jumping too short, and just push this block, closer to here, and that should be good.
Ah, sneaky, sneaky. It's almost like it's a puzzle that requires using your brain. I like it. I like it, Zelda.
Indeed, indeed. We've got to carry a lit torch across. That's why it's important to make sure these are spaced correctly.
See, that's another thing, too. Lighting torch puzzles aren't intrinsically bad. It's just, my issue tends to be where lighting the torch is the puzzle.
Yeah.
It's that's not a puzzle. That's just completing a task. But when you make lighting torches part of a puzzle, it works great.
There's going to be a lot of electric chews coming down, so try not to get splattered by one.
You would think that once those chews hit the water, Link would have been electrocuted to death, but not in this cutesy game. Psh, fuck your logic.
No, Nintendo thankfully gave us an out there.
It's one of the few times I will agree and go along with them Nintendo logics.
You got a cruise throughout this part of the dungeon. Thankfully, another bit of Nintendo mercy comes from not having to change the wind's direction.
Well, how would you even? It's all closed off.
True, true.
So glad that items have double usage. And you equip your boat. That just seems super cool that your boat gets upgraded. It's a shame that we're pretty much done with upgrading the boat, though. I mean, we're gonna get an HD exclusive item later, but in terms of Link's inventory, the boat pretty much stops once you get bombs.
Can you imagine if you, brought out the bow and you got, a massive harpoon gun or something?
Oh, but just a big spear gun. Yes! Yeah. That would have been amazing!
Specifically for taking down giant enemies like the Sea Hats.
Man, all of the items really needed one. Like, I'm pretty sure that the hookshot would have been too similar to other items, but let's face it, even when Link uses it, it's a bit too similar to other items.
Shit, let's go like one step further. Like, equipped with the Deku Leaf on the boat, you could have like a little parachute or something to like slow your descent when you jump, and you could create like obstacle and assault courses based around that.
No, what should have happened was the Deku Leaf should have been the original Fast Sail.
Ah.
Because it controls wind, so it would have been cool if, like, you just put it up as your new sail.
I like it.
Yeah, see? Nintendo, hire us. We have ideas, and they're all great.
We talk over them and you take our ad revenue, so I think it's fair.
I also like with the architecture in this game that the statues all have hilarious little faces. I mean, the enemies have charm, Link has charm. It's only fitting that even silly statues and architecture as a whole should have charm as well.
And the Tower of the Gods feels old, doesn't it? Like, the architecture has cracks in it, everything's like laced with gold, you know, because obviously they're all like royal and snooty back in the day.
Then also because it's also a bit out of the world, because the two previous dungeons we've been to, they've sort of been natural, like inside a volcano, inside a tree. Like, none of them were really man-made structures. You had the Forsaken Fortress, but that was all mostly wood.
Yeah.
This is, you know, it's using minerals and stuff. And so it definitely feels different than the rest of the world that we've been exploring. Because the world has pretty much built itself quite well in establishing a time frame. Like, how far is technology here? And the Tower of the Gods, it's both outside of that time frame and a little bit behind it, so it works really well.
Oh, the BMOs in this fucking game, I despise them.
They look stupid. Like, outside of how annoying BMOSs are normally, they look really, really stupid.
Well, it's not just that, it's the fact that I know there's like a circle meant to be in its eye, like going around the top, but it was so easier to keep track of it in like Ocarina of Time.
Well, yeah, because you had the eyeball. The orb itself, it looks the same from all directions. So, yeah, you need to use a little bit of depth perception to see if it's closer or further from you, but that can be a little off. It is a little off. And so you can get caught off guard by thinking that the ball is closer than it actually is, and it's in firing range.
Yeah, granted I'm just terrible at that sort of thing, but, you know, gotta point out things that I don't like. Speaking of things that, like, that were like kept in the HD version for no reason. At the top of here, I think I'll turn around in a second. Yeah, there's a platform. That was originally for something related to the Tingle Tuner, I believe.
Yeah, see, once again, this game is more of a conversion. They just threw it into the Wii U machine and took whatever popped out. Another thing too with those platforms is when Link hits the third switch, the three switches just need to be activated for an instant. So you can actually, before you step on it, roll past it, and what will happen is during the cutscene where the platforms start moving, Link will continue rolling and he'll actually roll onto the platform, so you can save a little bit of time there.
Nice.
It's not like huge and game breaking, but it's just, you know, it's the cute little tricks that matter. Save them frames.
A rainbow bridge? Huh.
Rainbow Road?
I was actually referring to Ocarina of Time, mate. Keep it in the Zelda universe. Link just talks.
He said full words. We must write game theories for this.
Let's not.
But here's the second mechanic. Well, it's actually a build off of the original, because we're still going to be dealing with pressure switches and weight all around. But now we have to be a babysitter, and we have to walk our statues.
They're kind of creepy, actually.
I think they look silly. Like, none of them have all... I mean, yeah, they have these, like, weird teeth grinning looks on them, but at the end they just look silly to me. I also like how you don't have to spend the whole time having them walk on their own. if need be, you could just pick them up and they walk your speed. It would have been really weird if they done like with the iron boots, and anytime he carries a statue, he just stomps.
Well, no, the iron boots will be coming into play later, so you'll get your fill of that, don't worry.
Oh, goody. They also kind of look like animals. I mean, they have horns, but they're still just faces. I'm not even going to be specific on that.
Well, we had our theory load blown in the last part with the Triforce statues. Don't worry about it. You don't have to come up with any more.
Well, on top of that, I mean, the 3 triangle islands form a triangle. And if you include the 3 dungeon islands, being Dragon Roost, Force Haven, and the destroyed Great Fish, you actually get a big giant Triforce in the middle of the ocean with the Tower of the Gods in the center. This is also kind of cool, learning a song in a dungeon.
Yeah.
Like, sort of having a song be a dungeon item. We'll be getting an actual equipment, but I think that's really cool that we're going to be using a song as a dungeon item.
Second most important song in the game, I'd say, after the Wind's Requiem. The command melody literally allows you to use voodoo magic to control people.
Best way to describe it is that Link voodoo. So a couple ways you can clear this room. If you notice at the top, there is a grappling hook rod, but you can also use your leaf to float yourself over to the platform to the left, and then use it again to float to the platform across.
I never thought to do that, honestly. It just seems like a situation where they wanted you to grapple.
It is, because I'm not sure if you need to use a leaf pump, which is where you essentially cancel using the leaf and then immediately pull the leaf back out. And it's just sort of a way for Link to maintain his height. And so you can use it to get to areas with the leaf that you're not supposed to, but hey, you're the one who put the mechanic in the game. Next time, test your stuff.
Alright, let's make use of the command melody for the first time. Let's do that voodoo that we do.
Oh yeah, this is also our first, well, it's only our second song, so. But it's in 4/4 time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The time signatures don't really matter, it's just for them to add a bit of variety to the songs.
I could just watch Link doing his voodoo black magic all day, but unfortunately we have puzzles to solve.
I think it's also cool that whenever Link possesses a statue, its lines turn green.
Mm-hmm.
To show it's his influence over the statue. There's also a cool little trick in this room called Cosmo Hop, where you can actually use the very thin platforms on the sides of the room to just hop across.
Let me guess, was that created by Cosmo?
No, yes. Should be fucking obvious.
They're created by John Numbers, actually.
That guy only won because he clearly played more Mario games than Cosmo. Also, why would you have Smash Brothers with items on? I don't get it.
Well, Nintendo likes to espouse their way of playing the game. That's why you're given very few options when it comes to their first-party titles.
Nintendo just doesn't know how to make a game truly competitive.
Well, do they need to, though, is the thing. I mean, for stuff like Zelda, not really, because multiplayer, apart from like the Four Swords and Triforce Heroes games, aren't the focus, but for Splatoon, hell yeah, you gotta go like balls to the walls with competitive, not fucking kneecap it by letting you play one ranked mode at a time. No, I'm not sorry, why'd you ask?
Salty squids.
It's funny, I caught that reference, I understood that reference. It's funny because at the time of this recording, I think a proper matchmaking mode will actually be out for Splatoon, so uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
All I know is that dog better than cat. There's literally no argument there.
The Dark Knight agrees.
A pretty cool design of the Dark Nuts, too.
Mm-hmm.
I like how it's still iconic. It's still a giant suit of armor, which all the Dark Nuts have always been. But the big way to defeat this guy is using the reactions. I want to call them reaction commands, but I know that's not what they're really called. But come on, they're pretty much Kingdom Hearts reaction commands. It's the exact same color button, too.
What's funny is, if you take off their helmets, they're actually like Devil Anubises, or Anubai.
They're jackal dogs or whatever. And I do like how, depending on which reaction you use, the battle damage is different. Obviously, if you do the backslice, you remove his chest plate, where if you do what was it, Helmbreaker?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it was in Twilight Prince. If you do that, you knock off his helm, and then he'll take more damage if you perform another Helmbreaker.
Oh, Helm Splitter.
Helm Splitter. Yeah, those Twilight Princess attacks that we totally got.
The optional ones. That's why I think Wind Waker has the best 3D combat in all of the Zelda games.
Well, yeah, because you get the variety of the combat without doing a quest for it, while there are still optional upgrades to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not that everything is optional and an upgrade. There's some, but Link comes fully equipped with his own arsenal from the get-go.
And now that I've destroyed this priceless architecture, I leave.
What you didn't know is that that one pillar was actually holding up majority of the weight of the tower. It is now crumbling down, but Nintendo's being a dick and not including a timer.
Just reorchestrate that in like a Zelda style.
That would actually be pretty interesting to hear.
Am I going nuts, or was there a reticle in the original game?
I don't think so. Zelda's been pretty bad about including reticles with its bow and arrow.
Yeah, because there was definitely one in Twilight Princess and those point controls. I miss them in Skyward Sword.
So I really like the bubbles in Wind Waker because obviously with the other bubbles they try to do with realistic, as much as they could with their technology flames.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with this one, they use the swirly cloud puffs that you get with bombs. It is a bit annoying because it actually obscures the skull itself, so kudos for the skull being, tactical and doing something that makes sense for itself. But it does kind of suck from a player's perspective.
Visually, they look great, and, no, sorry, I'm not going to fuck with any armors right now. I am on a quest, a statue quest.
I do like how they also taunt you. So, once again, adding charm and personality to literally everything in the world. Even shit that is inanimate.
I'm the second one, still one more to go.
It's Nintendo. How many times do you think you're gonna have to do something?
Rule of 3 is just satisfying, though, on like a instinctual level, I guess.
It has to be, because first one is setup, second is confirmation, third is satisfaction.
Not sure that's the word, you kind of threw me off my groove there, but I will take it.
Satisfaction.
Yeah, here's those balance puzzles we were on about.
Let's forget it. Skip it. Don't want it.
We'll come back to it, but we've got to get a small key first.
So were you using gyro for this part?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, I figured as much.
I turned it back on after the Forbidden Woods.
So gyro, yes for bow and arrow, no on boomerang.
I didn't fall off the edge, what are you talking about?
One take, and no more.
What's funny is I actually use a jump into the pit to fast travel back to the start of the room.
Hey, that's genius. That's being optimal.
And now I bid you adieu. Goodbye, cruel world.
Link just couldn't handle it, so yes, deed.
I love the farty little sound effect whenever you fail.
I'm trying to remember when they first included stuff like that. Because I know in the 2D handhelds, obviously you get a falling effect, but you don't get a sort of, like, I don't know, a little tune. I don't even know what to call it.
These keys were a bunch of fucking assholes, because they would not let me back up this ladder, and I couldn't really get a bead on them with the bow and arrow. So look at this shit.
They improved Keith's AI hardcore in this game.
Like, he dive-bombed into the war and didn't die.
See? Metaphysical Keiths. And they're faster, and their AI is a bit less aggro. Like, they will stay back and then swoop in, instead of Keiths in other games where they would just get closer, closer, closer. Then they would enter radius where they would just circle you for a bit and then attack. No, these keys are out for blood.
Okay, what you gotta do with these platforms, you essentially have to have your weight and like +1 to that. So Link is worth 1 armor, so you put 2 armors on like one side and boom, it like counterbalances the other.
So Link can lift his own weight. I mean, for having scrawny little stubby arms and legs, the boy is strong. And he must have been pumping all kinds of iron on that island, but then again, what else are you gonna do?
Alright, show of hands. Who didn't realise you had to do this the first time?
Hands not up. I totally got that. Sucks to be you.
I'm the important one. I have all the horns.
I think he has just as many as the others. They're just outward instead of the other two being inward and backwards.
So I got him mid-jump, so it looked like he was levitating.
Also indestructible. So, the dungeon obviously plays a lot better now that every time you play the command melody, you don't get it played back at you.
Oh, thank God.
It's one of the drawbacks. Like I said, it's very interesting that they use a song as a dungeon item, but obviously, when the game first came out, every time you had to use it, it was a several second long pause and break in gameplay.
This is the best, like, incarnation of Wizrobe, by the way, the kind of toucan sound thing, if just for his death cry.
Whoa! It's freaking silly, but once again, Wizrobes are always the most annoying enemy in Zelda games. It doesn't matter what Zelda game.
This time we gotta counterbalance by putting all 4 Armuses on a single platform.
Wait, so the Armos... One Armos equals 1 Link, but 1 Link plus 1 statue equals 4 Armos. So that statue is twice as heavy as Link, and he can still lift it with ease.
Oh, my head!
The maths, bro.
Well, have fun down there, I guess.
Or, no, the 4 is greater than their weight, because if it was equal, then the scale would drop, but it would drop to a center level. I think. Math. Why couldn't you speed these cutscenes up?
Right.
It's like I said, they nitpick what needs to be fixed and what doesn't.
Wait, isn't that our job?
No, our job is just to nitpick. See, I don't know why they turned green there, because, I don't know, they kind of established that green meant Link's influence on them, so...
Speaking of nitpicking...
This color choice offends me and triggers me on several levels.
We're really close to the boss of the dungeon right now. When you streamline the route, it just goes to show how easy the Wind Waker dungeons actually are.
When you streamline anything, it's sort of an eye-opener on how short most video games are. But I do like how they don't bullshit the fact that we're going to use a tower and we just continue to ascend.
Yeah.
I don't like that when you give me a tower and it involves going up and down. Unless it's sort of like with Eagle's Tower, it was part of a puzzle. But I want progress in a tower to constantly be up.
It shows how conditioned I am. It's like I was expecting you to say Eagle's Tower, because what else could you think of besides like Ganon's Tower as an example?
And even then, you just keep going up.
Same style of key used in Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks?
Yeah, except in Spirit Tracks, you had to deal with wall masters trying to take it from you.
Those guys were a bunch of assholes. Just let me have my key.
It's like, I'm already done with the dungeon, bro. I don't need this little annoying task. I love the noise that these guys make. Enemies make such adorable noises in this game. It's the best.
Oh?
They were so caught off guard by Link. They had no idea.
Let me try and get this without triggering that asshole over there. Success.
I also like how with a lot of the floor tiles, you still see that decay. So this tower hasn't been perfectly preserved. I mean, the whole thing has been underwater. So even in the upper portions, you still get water damage and just general rot.
There's a lot of, like, past future going on here, because if you'll notice on, like, some of the walls and floors, there's, like, circuit patterns.
Yeah, well, we had holographic platforms. But agreed, it's doing that whole long ago, but still way better than what you're dealing with.
Blue BMOSs just basically fire straight forward. It's the red ones you want to look out for.
I can't even tell where the eye is now. The bloom just disguises them perfectly.
Yeah, this is one of the areas where they really should have, toned down the bloom, I think. It's because you're outside in, like really high up there, he tries to go for a kind of scorched heat effect.
It is kind of weird, though, because then that scorch just stays there. Because I know in, like, other Zeldas, yeah, you get the scorch, but it follows the line. With that, it just creates a little crater and it just stays there. And it looks bad.
Oh, this boss is great.
I've seen this boss before. Several times.
A head with a couple of hands. Oh my god, it's Andros. Finally, a Star Fox and Zelda crossover that I can be proud of.
Oh my god, it's Bongo Bongo. Oh my god, it's, what is it? Ramrock? Yeah, also Ramrock. And Mazal. And also that one dude from Mario 64. Come on, Nintendo. I'm so tired of heads and hands.
I miss boss subtitles.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that in this game, they don't have, like, their name and title to go along with it. So, you actually go through this game without knowing what all the bosses' names are. I know it took me a while to learn that Dragon Roost boss was a Goma. The trick you want to do here is you want to shoot out his eyes, obviously the ones that are still lit and glowing. When he charges up to shoot fireballs, if you actually roll under the head, he'll cancel it out. Like, he just doesn't know where to shoot fireballs, so he says never mind. And once you've done that, you can throw bombs into his mouth and clog up his sinuses with smoke.
If you actually run out of arrows, he will snort out some more for you. Because, this is a test. He's not necessarily evil.
That, and also it's a video game. A cute video game for baby kids. So you need a refill on your arrows.
Man, you're trying to be all passive aggressive and mocking. I'm just loving all the neon in this arena.
It is a great looking room, but I think I still prefer the Forest Haven boss room. Just the colors there work so much better. And the fact that there was dynamic lighting. I mean, this boss is still good. I mean, despite being another face-hand boss, I actually like face-hand bosses. Bongo Bongo, for the longest time, was probably my favorite boss in Ocarina of Time. And this guy is also really fun to fight. And I do enjoy that it is a low-stress boss fight. I mean, it's a shame that your test of courage is facilitating you and helping you out, but it's a test.
Because I got through so smoothly, you can't really tell that there's like an additional danger to this fight, in that the floor all around the platform is electrified, so the hands can very easily just push you off.
Similar to the arena with Bongo Bongo, where the drum was actually surrounded by green goo.
I don't mind them like reusing boss strategies and conventions, so long as they put a new twist in it, and I think I did that cancelling out trick you were talking about just there.
Nice. And yeah, agreed. With this one, it's definitely different enough from Bongo Bongo in terms of how to fight and how everything looks that it's forgivable. It's just that when you look at Nintendo as a whole and how many head plus hand bosses, there's a lot.
There is, yeah. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Also, Bongo Bongo was the epitome of evil. This guy is a messenger of the gods.
So he's an angel.
Is there like a lesser class below angel, like a postman or some shit?
Well, there are like 9 levels of angels, so... I mean, they go from as high as the throne God sits upon to as low as angels that watch people. Like, that's all they do is just watch you.
And there we go, that was the Tower of the Gods, so all that's left to do now is ring the ceremonial bell, and crazy things will happen.
You mean plot's gonna happen?
Yes, the next 2 parts are basically all plot, so strap yourself in, kiddies. This is going to be a fun and talky week.
I'm gonna need another drink. This part is so cool.
Definitely.
I love how, yeah, you're done with the dungeon, but you didn't get the traditional exit. Like, you still got one final task.
Ah, the bells, the bells!
Link is now trapped up there, and will have to deal with some pervy old priest dude. Or judge? I don't know. What was his official job?
Wait, what are we talking? Oh, Frollo. Okay.
You make a Hunchback of Notre Dame reference and the guy doesn't get it. This man, I swear.
Should we sail into the light? It seems like a thing we should do.
Let's not, and let's go do minigames.
I framed that on my wall. You have done well, and Tom. Well, it was a good motivational poster.
Does it have a little kitty dangling from a tree underneath it?
Yeah, I took a pic of Phoenix and just like photoshopped it.
Oh, okay, that just doesn't sound nice at all.
Well, you know what does sound nice? Exposition. So we'll see you guys next time when shit gets real. See you then.